This is the Book Deal Podcast,
where you will discover the inspiring stories behind your favourite books.
We interview seasoned and debut authors, as well as publishing industry professionals, to bring you the best tips and advice on how to get that elusive book deal.
So no matter what stage of writing you're at, we've got you covered. I'm Tina Strachan.
I'm Madeline Cleary.
And I'm Natasha Rye.
And join us as we pull back the curtain of published authors.
One deal at a time. The Book Deal Podcast acknowledges the traditional owners of the land and waters which it's recorded on, and pays respect to their elders past, present, and emerging.
So, everyone, with that exciting intro, Tina, Madeline, and I, Natasha, are going to be together in person to record a very special Christmas episode of The Book Deal. We are going to be together in Sydney on the 25th of November at 6 p.m.
And we're so excited because Hayley Scrivener, best-selling Australian author, is going to be with us on stage. And she's going to be our resident agony aunt for the episode. And we have a way for you to submit anonymous questions. So if you go to our show notes or our Instagram bio, you'll be able to submit anything you want to ask on stage. No question is too outlandish, so go for it.
And not only that, if that's not as exciting enough, we have a huge signed debut book bonanza to give away to somebody in the audience. There will be 20 books by debut authors, all signed, and they could all be yours if you come along on the night.
Exactly. So to get tickets, visit our Instagram page, check out the link in the show notes, or through the Writing New South Wales website. Hope to see you there.
See you there.
Bye. Welcome to episode 60 of the Book Deal Podcast. My name is Tina Strachan, and I am very excited to bring you this week's interview with Kidlit superstar author Kate Foster. Kate is an internationally multi-published author whose most recent release is called Camp Spooky. She is one busy lady with 4 books out next year, as well as organising the Author Pen Pals program and the Danz Awards, promoting diversity in children's books. In this interview, I pick Kate's brain about the importance of celebrating diversity in books, what it means to be a good industry citizen, what has helped her navigate the rejections and ups and downs of the publishing industry, the joys of co-writing, and how on earth she fits this all into her day-to-day life. Kate is a wonder, and I hope you enjoy our chat. Kate Foster, it's such a pleasure to have you on the Book Deal Podcast with me today.
Oh, thank you, Tina Strachan. It's very, very exciting to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, anytime. We have been trying to do this for a little while, haven't we? But we've finally managed to get each other in a room that's not too loud.
Well, that's right. And I think just because we're so incredibly busy and successful and incredible, you know.
It's very hard. Very hard to pin us down, isn't it?
Exactly. How do we fit all this in? We're so amazing. So,
I don't know, but that is a question that I am going to ask you and pick your brain about, actually, because you are very busy. Because I wanted to chat to you today about so many things. You obviously, your name is huge in the Kidlit world, Kate Foster. And I wanted to talk to you about your most recent release, Camp Spooky, your upcoming series, Freddie Jones. I also want to talk to you about the Danz Awards that you have created and managed, the Author Pen Pal program, which you also run. I want to know how you fit this all into your schedule with your family and your kids, and also just being a bloody good industry citizen, Kate. So I feel a bit exhausted just...
Well, you know what? I feel like that'll do. Should we just leave the podcast there? I think like you've done enough work for me. You've really bigged me up there, and I'm happy to leave it at that.
So much to cover.
There is, but yeah, the way that I fit it in, I don't. This is my job. This is what I do. So I am very lucky in that respect. So my days, my kids are older, so I've got two at uni, one at college, and so really it's just the dogs that I have to, dote on 24/7, which, that's tiresome. But bless them, they give a lot back. So yeah, basically this is my job. So from writing and editing, yeah, obviously that takes up a lot of time, but I enjoy running the Danz Awards. I enjoy putting author pen pals together. So, um, yeah, it doesn't. I mean, obviously, there's some days that feel like, why have I done all this? Why have I said yes to all these things? Why have I taken it all on? But ultimately, it's like selfish because I enjoy it.
That's good. It's one of those things. It doesn't feel like work if you're enjoying it, or whatever that saying is. I don't know.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
absolutely. I mean, yeah, it doesn't feel like work. I mean, I know it is work, but it doesn't feel like work. It's a pleasure to do. So, yeah, winning.
Yeah, yeah. No, it sounds like a pretty good deal you've got yourself on there, I have to say. But I do want to come back to that because I have some other questions about, fitting it in and time management and all those sorts of things. But I wanted to start by asking you about your wonderful new book, Camp Spooky, which released just last month, which was October. So perfect timing for Halloween. It was also co-written with the brilliant Pip Harry. Can you tell
Indeed.
me first a little bit about Camp Spooky?
Yeah, so Camp Spooky is super fun, super funny, a little bit creepy, but not too scary. So anyone who is easily scared, you probably won't be with this little guy. It is just fun. That was the whole point. So Camp Spooky is about two very different kids who are going on a sports camp in the middle of the outback. And from the moment they're on the bus on the way there, some strange things start happening. Um, when they get there, things get weirder, like there's strange, well, actually quite repulsive smells that are everywhere, weird flashing lights at night time, kids that are acting like zombies, and lots of devices that are going missing from, people's cabins and whatnot. So, yeah, it's basically about these two kids, Archie and Isla, who I think seem to be the only ones noticing anything weird going on. So they decide to team up and figure it out. Yeah, who knows what they're going to find? Maybe they go behind a bin. And maybe they go under the bin. Maybe they find something beneath the ground behind that bin, that leads them to solve a mystery. But ultimately, it's a great fun read. Beautifully illustrated throughout, black and white illustrations by Joanna Bartel. And yeah, it's perfect for reluctant readers who are really into kind of the graphic novels, but maybe want to move on to something a bit different. Yeah, it was an absolute joy to write, and I hope it's a joy to read.
Yes, well, it is. I can attest to that. Both my kids have read it. My 12-year-old read it on his own, and my 7-year-old I read to him, but he thoroughly enjoyed it. And the
Oh.
illustrations were, yeah, it certainly helps them, doesn't it, when they're making that transition from like, picture books and things like that, and moving and junior fiction up to, because it is classed as middle grade, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Is it?
think, well, junior fiction, middle grade.
Yeah,
Is there
yeah.
I get very confused with all the chapter books, early readers, like teen books, tween books, what are all of these things? Um, so yeah, it is the illustrations, the shortness of this book. It's a short read. It does help. Like if it offers kids that opportunity to read an entire novel, entire chapter book pretty quickly, and gives them that lovely feeling of satisfaction, and fulfillment. So hopefully they'll go on and they'll pick up more books.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I think it definitely does all of that. But I wanted to ask you, Kate, about co-writing.
Mm,
So this isn't the first time you've co-written a book with somebody. You co-wrote Small Acts with Kate Gordon.
I did.
And yeah, I have many questions about co-writing. I've never done it before. I don't even, I've heard people talk about it though. Other authors talk about it, and they all seem to have sort of different methods or tricks and ways of getting it to work. So can you tell me more about it? Like, who comes up with the idea? Do you like ask them like would you like to co-write with me, or is it just something that you come together with? Tell me about it. How do you do it?
Yeah. Oh, well, the whole process was very different with Kate as it was to Pip. So, with Kate, we had actually been discussing for a super long time to do something nice, to do something that puts kindness out there in the world. And we were coming up with all of these ideas. Look, I live in Queensland, Kate's in Tassie, and we're both really busy. And so everything idea that we came up with was like, oh, that's quite a lot. That's quite a lot. I don't know if we can make that work. And then weirdly, we just kind of went, well, look, should we just write something together? It took us that long to remember that we're authors and that's what we do. Yeah, we just kind of came up with this idea that we wanted two kids, two neuro kids who want to do kind things, but they just don't know how. They don't have the confidence, they're not socially outgoing, they don't have money. So how do you do these big, wonderful, kind things without all of those things? So yeah, that was kind of how it started with Kate. We had this rough idea of what we wanted to happen. And then we just wrote, so back and forth, chapter to chapter. I had Ollie, I had Josh, and Kate had Ollie, and we just kind of, yeah, I wrote a chapter, she wrote a chapter, and so on and so forth. And with Kate, like, we didn't plot much. So I was often like, "Ooh, what's coming back?" And very often was really surprised, like, oh, okay. But I really enjoyed the challenge of it. Writing with Kate was a joy. So with Pip, it was a very different process. Um, we both have worked with the amazing Christina Schultz as an editor. And years ago, Christina said to me, oh my gosh, you would love Pip. She's just absolutely brilliant. You'd be such good friends. If you ever, meet, you got to chat. And so it just so happened that I was at the CBCA conference a few years ago, and Pip was there. And I was all fangirly and, oh, I can't talk to her. It's Pip Harry. But I did. I just made myself, had Christina's words ringing in my head. So I just kind of went up to her and just like, oh, hi, Pip, my name's Kate. We should be friends, or something, along those lines. And the conversation just went really easily. And then I think I just said, should we write something together? And she said, yeah, okay. So we had some Zoom meetings, and because Pip's down in New South Wales, obviously I'm up in Queensland. We had some Zoom meetings, and we kind of said to each other, what have you always wanted to write, but like never sort of had the opportunity? And so Pip said, well, I'd quite like to write sports and a camp. And I said, well, I'd like to write comedy and horror. And so we just kind of mushed it all together. But we plotted a lot more than as I've previously done. So Pip and I had these conversations. We really plotted in detail, so we knew exactly what was going to happen and when. And so the process was different, but equally as fun. Like, I loved it. Pip's such an extraordinary writer, so getting her chapters back was fun, and seeing how she bounced off my character. And that was it. Yeah, it was just a joy, and I highly recommend it. And look, it's half the work.
That
They're
sounds
Pip's.
so fun.
They're Pip's words, by the way.
That's half the work.
Yeah.
Still a lot of work though.
Yes.
That sounds so fun. I love that idea of getting the chapters back and being like, oh, where's this going? Oh, that's so cool. Okay. Do you want to write a book together, Kat?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay,
I would love that, Tina. And it would have to have, but it's got to have some dogs in it, like, as long as you're good with that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
always.
hey, look, we've both got a dog that looks
exactly the
remarkably
same.
similar. So maybe that could be at the core of the story.
Yeah, mine's called Millie. And who's your one that looks like Millie?
Claude.
Claude.
Claude's
So
my
it could
little
be
spoodle.
I'm trying to think of a name to mold together.
Yeah.
Clearly.
My lord.
Yes,
No, that doesn't ring to it, actually. Let's not do that.
Okay, we will workshop that. I love that. So you touched on it just briefly before, Kate, and all of your books do feature neurodiverse characters and neurodiversity, which is fantastic. Can you chat a little bit about that, why it's so important to you, and why it's important for children to read these books with diverse characters?
Oh, 100%. I mean, there's that famous saying, which I'm not going to get right because I get it wrong every time I try and say it. windows, mirrors, and sliding doors. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Could have got it
Sounds
right.
good. Sounds good.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, yes, there's this books, have this ability to transport, allow us to live in the lives of others. But they're also a reflection of us. And so we need books with as many different characters from different backgrounds, living different lives to reflect every reader. And particularly in Australia, it's so multicultural. It's such a wonderful a beautiful, colourful array of people with different lives from different origins. And so, there isn't the number of books out there currently with diverse representation to cover all of these beautiful people. And so neurodiversity is just one small section of that. And having an autistic child, being autistic myself, and just hearing the community talk about the lack of representation, of seeing themselves in books. And when they do, it's usually stereotyping or it's trauma-based books. It's pigeonholing us where we don't want to be. So that is why I just wanted to write joyous, happy books. Still balanced, still covering some of those tricky topics and how it can be hard day to day. But also, yeah, just to say, look, we're really cool people and we want to do really like normal, awesome things. So yeah, that's really at the heart of why I do what I do, is to offer this representation, and to offer other kids that chance to step in the shoes of someone who doesn't see the world in the same way they do.
And because of your passion, Kate, you have also, in promoting awareness, you have also, this is, I'm assuming, why you also created the Danz Awards.
Yeah. So the Danz Awards was a thought that I'd had, or not Danz specifically, but an award that really focused on different people and different lives, a long, long time ago. But I was like, you know what? I'm far too green. I'm too new. I don't have enough contacts or knowledge. I'm not the right person to set something like this up. I'll leave it to someone else. And I know that we've all had that happen. I'll just leave it to someone else to fix or someone else to do. But fast forward a few years and there was still nothing really here in Australia. And so I just weirdly enough put a tweet out on X when it was Twitter, and basically saying, would anyone support this if I set it up? And I got a message back almost immediately from the then president of the Australian School Library Association, who was like, yes, I would like to talk. And it just kind of steamrolled from there, really. It went fast. Steamrolled? Is that the right word?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. So I've always got in my head that steamrollers are quite slow, so maybe not.
They are, but they're forcul, and they do move forward most of the time, right?
Yeah. Okay. So we'll go with it. Yeah. So anyway, it's steamrolled from there. And yeah, the award
Snowballed. Sorry.
Snowballed. That's much better. Snowballed.
Just came to me.
Steamrolling. The steamrolling snowball. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, and it just went from there. So the idea of the award was to celebrate groundbreaking books, really. Books which celebrate different people, that offer people that chance to step and sit at the table with someone different to them, and go, well, look, this is how I do things. This is how I live. This is what happened to me once. This is how I see the world. So really, what I consider proper inclusivity, just everybody equal, everyone sharing a little piece of themselves, nobody saying, oh, I'm better or whatever. It's all a case of, look, we're all just humans, with different approaches to life or different experiences of life, and let's all just kind of learn about each other. And so that was how Danz was born. And I always have to tell the story about the name. So I was trying to come up with this name for the awards. And I thought, well, diversity in Australia and New Zealand, Danz, perfect. So I ran it by my family. I ran it by my husband, and I said, what do you think of this, Danz? And he pressed a hand to his heart and he said, are you naming it after me? Because he's called Dan. And I was like, oh, yes, yes, I'm naming it after you because I love you so much. So yeah, I think maybe he still believes that it's named after
Oh,
him. I'm
it's
not
just a
sure.
happy coincidence that also
Indeed.
Australia and New Zealand also spells that. But of course, you didn't realize that till after you named it after
No,
him.
no, poor
Mm,
guy.
mm.
So, yeah, so he's still living in this blissful knowledge that
Oh,
the award's named after him. So
yeah.
that's lovely. So yeah, Dan's is going from strength to strength. We're into our third year, and we're collecting lots of um figures and statistics as we go, which I'm finding quite fascinating.
Mhm.
And I think soon we'll put it together so we can feedback to the publishing industry, into education to really say, look, you've got some gaping holes which you really need to fill, but you need to fill not necessarily fast, but well and properly and correct. So it's been a great experiment as well.
Mhm,
Really, I
mhm,
love it. It's
mhm.
a joy.
Yeah, and that's a really important point that you make in don't just fill these gaps with
Mm,
anything because they aren't all well done and
no.
correct by any means, are they?
Indeed, absolutely. And that's it. Maybe it is better to have no representation as opposed to offensive,
Mhm. Harmful.
representation. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's really the message that we are trying to do with Dan's is that we these are books which celebrate, which avoid all of the done and dusted nonsense that is harmful. This is about celebration.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's great. And oh gosh, what beautiful books there are out there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And I love how you just put it out on Twitter and the Library Association was like that you could tell they were probably or had already noticed that gap themselves, but were also sort of just hadn't taken that step maybe to do anything. And I love how you just put it out there and it just sort of attracts the right
Yeah.
energy back and look at where it is now.
Exactly. And it is a lot, that whole thing of right place, right time, university's ready, and it obviously just was. So, yeah, the ASLA have just been extraordinary. Martha and Sonia, who are the current president and secretary, I couldn't have asked for a better team to work with on this award. And we really are growing and growing, going from strength to strength. There's a new website being built, and there's lots of other things behind the scenes which I can't talk about yet, which
Um,
hopefully is going to really just inject some big open conversation and change in the industry. So I'm very excited.
that's so exciting. And it's open now, isn't it? Is it open for submissions now?
No, so we're
No?
currently in the midst of judging.
Oh,
So
okay.
nominations closed a month or so ago,
Mhm,
and all of the books now are with our young judges because we have children who judge our books as they should.
mhm.
It's children's books, children's awards, so they are our judges, and so they are, yeah, at the moment reading and judging and returning their checklists to me so I can input scores, and we announce our long list early next year.
Okay. And then there's usually like a actual awards night.
There is, yes, absolutely. We've our first year we had a little event at Somerset Story Fest on the Gold Coast. The last year's award, which we had the event this year, was in at the Geelong Cats Stadium as part of the ASLA biannual conference. And next year, watch this space. We
Mhm.
are sorting that out as we speak. Let's say that.
Oh, very exciting news to come. Can't wait to find out more. Um, so also talking about kids and reading and writing. Also, you are involved in the Author Pen Pal program. Tell
Yay!
us more about that, Kate.
So there's that is oh look, I didn't steal it, okay?
Mm,
Let's just
borrowed.
clear that up right now, okay? I borrowed it, yeah. Um, but no, I did actually reach out. There was a program in the UK called Book Pen Pals, and I was a part of it. So I wrote basically to some students in year 5 or 4 in the UK, some classes, back and forth over the course of the school year. And I just thought, what an incredible program. What an amazing, simple idea. Snail mail. handwritten letters, and just that personal connection with an author or an illustrator. We hear from teachers, teacher librarians, that when an author or an illustrator visits a school, it is like magic. The kids who aren't big readers suddenly want to borrow the books. They want to read. They want to know more. They want to tell their stories. They want to write stuff. And so I just thought there's so many schools. This country's so massive, and there are so many schools, rural, regional, disadvantaged, who will never have the money to bring in authors to pay. So let's create this free program here. And we're now into our 4th year, I think. I run it with the brilliant author Dee White. And so people can sign up now, authors, illustrators, and also schools. They can sign up, and basically we just match an author or an illustrator with a school, a cohort, class, whatever it may be, and they write back and forth across the school year, and that's it. And it's just incredible. Authors tell the kids about their writing process, about where they write, where they get their ideas from. They can give them writing prompts, whatever it might be. And then the kids write back and tell them, little snippets about themselves and stories they've written. And yeah, it's all in all, it has just been one of the most positive experiences. I think last year we had over 12,000 students that we reached through the program. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's incredible. I was one of the authors last year, and that was my first year, and it was so nice. It was just so lovely. I had St. Lutheran's Primary School in Victoria. They had their grade 4-5, and it was so great. I think I got like all or pretty much every student sent me, a little bio about them, and it was so nice just seeing what they do and in their spare time, because it's a completely different area to where I grew up and where I live. So it's so nice seeing that, and then just talking about stories and books, and they just had the most incredible questions, most lovely questions. And I just received like my last letter from them the other day, and some of them had written some stories that they'd sent to me. So I'm going to can't wait to have a little read of them, and send them something back. So it really is a beautiful way of just making contact and touching those other schools that sometimes don't have availability or access to other authors.
Yeah, totally. That's it. It's just, we're constantly being told literacy levels are dropping, people aren't reading for pleasure. And it's like, well, this is just a little attempt at trying to reach many of those kids who just need to see that authors are normal people, and that anybody can be an author or an illustrator or storyteller. It doesn't necessarily have to be the written word. And anybody can do that, but everybody's stories are important. And hopefully in that process they reach for a book. Who cares what it is? Who cares if they're 12 and they're picking up a picture book? I read picture books. I read middle grade. I'm 46 years old. I'm not ashamed. All of them are wonderful stories, all of things you can learn about different people in the world. And that's really what the whole program is about, just making it a celebration of story.
Yeah, and it's things like these programs that actually can really change someone's life. They'll remember these little things forever. It's not little, but they'll remember maybe getting a letter from a author, or just having an author respond back to something that they had written can really stick with them forever. And like you said, just be that spark or that change that they need to continue reading or writing, or just
exactly,
they can do it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just building that confidence and that self-belief. And we'd like to grow the program, and perhaps, in some way work with an education body and try and make it so it's actually built into the curriculum. I think that would really help the teachers and the librarians as well. Because look, we all know full well that TL's teachers, they're absolutely at a max with the amount of work that they have to do. So if there's some way that we can in the future build it into the curriculum, I think it would help everybody.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So if someone wants to apply as a school or as an author, That's open now, isn't it? Author Pen House, and they can just
Absolutely.
go to the website.
Yep, authorpenhouse.com. And scroll down, make sure you read the website, through so you really understand what the minimum commitments are, they are very minimal. And then there are two links. There's one link which is to the author illustrator sign up form, and the other is to the school sign up form. And sign ups stay open right through until the end of January. So there's lots and lots of time. We know from experience that some teachers need to be back in the classroom before they know what class they're going to be teaching, or how many kids they've got. So we don't match and start really the writing process until kind of into February. So there's plenty of time. It's very relaxed.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you. So all this work that you're doing, okay, all these extracurricular, besides just writing, you do so much. You are truly the epitome of a good industry citizen, which we've spoken about a couple of times on the podcast. You're always lifting up others and willing to share your knowledge and your contacts and your advice. Can you tell us why is it important to be a good industry citizen? And I mean, what I'm saying by that, I know you understand, but and just helping out other authors and other writers on their journey. Can you tell us why that's important for you?
Oh, I mean, it's multi-layered, really. Like, it is a solitary job a lot of the time. And so having community, it keeps you going. This industry is riddled with rejection and disappointment. There's no getting away from it. And they say, oh, you need a thick skin, and yeah, you do. But I'm still to grow one. I don't know where this thick skin maybe I can buy one. I'm not sure. So every rejection, every disappointment hurts. Sorry, I can't get away from it. That's just how it is. And so I think sometimes having community, having other authors, one or two, it doesn't have to be a whole room full, to just be able to share your own experiences and share those emotions and get it out in the open without being judged and being told, oh, you're so ungrateful. If anyone would dream to be in your position, yeah, of course, we're not being ungrateful, just saying that we're really disappointed in this particular aspect or this particular moment. It passes. So having people that understand, that don't judge, it's golden. It keeps you going. It lifts you back up. It puts you back in front of the laptop. It puts you back into the query trenches, or whatever. And so my journey to being published is massive. I'm no overnight success story at all. I've had hundreds of rejections over the years. I've had numerous agents. My agent's life has been just as rocky as they could come, and I mean that's probably like a whole half an hour to tell you about that. I've had contracts offered and then contracts looked at which have been dodgy, so I can't have that book deal. And things fall through at the last minute. So, it's honestly, sometimes I look at myself and think, why am I still doing this? Like, why didn't I just break much earlier on? But hey, it was because of community. It was because people shared. People, further up the ladder to me said, look, hey, come along to this, come and meet this person. Here's some advice, read this blog. And all of that is what just has kept me ticking. And I consider myself still very brand new in this industry. I'm still learning every day. There's always someone new that comes along that teaches me something different that I had never considered before. And so why on earth would I not help other people when I can? If I know something or I know someone that could make a difference, then why would I be precious and keep that to myself? Why wouldn't I share my contacts? Why wouldn't I share my knowledge? I think I just don't understand that way of thinking when people don't. But hey, look, we're all different, no judgment. Or maybe a bit, I'm not sure. But yeah, for me, like that is what keeps things ticking. That's being not just a good industry citizen, it's being a good person, isn't it?
Being a good human, yeah, that's always helpful too, I find.
Yeah, well, that does help.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like you said, your journey to publication was long and rocky, and there's lots of people on that journey at the moment. Do you have like one top tip that could help people, get through that time?
Um, yeah. Well, I've got lots of top tips. I mean, how many can I put
Yeah,
out there?
many.
Find people at the same stage as you and cling to them, because, those are the conversations, like I've mentioned. Um, those are the conversations that keep you going, because somebody else feels what you do, and you're not an imposter, you're not over the top, you're not being dramatic. Every feeling is valid. I would also say that the absolute top tip is to remember why you wrote stories in the first place. Most of us, it's because we enjoy telling stories and we enjoy the process of writing. So always cling on to that. Always remember that fundamentally is why you're doing it, because you enjoy it and you want to get these stories out there. The other thing is, which I don't think is talked about very much at all, you know what? If you do want to walk away, walk away. Like, there's no shame in deciding that you can't keep going. It's too painful, it's too difficult, it's too much energy. Walk away. Walk away and just go write something else or find another medium to be creative. I've met lots and lots of people over the last decade or so who, did step back. It wasn't happening for them. They couldn't deal with the rejection that was coming, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, they just decided they couldn't do it anymore, and I've got absolute respect for them for just turning their back on what is a very difficult and often, rigid industry. So, they would probably be my three top tips, I
No,
think.
they were really good top tips. Yeah, it's not worth when the love is gone and you're not having any joy from it anymore. It's not worth your health and your mental health, is it?
Oh God, no, absolutely. And that's it, like, you've got to look after yourself, because often you're not going to be able to write good stories if you're
Yeah.
not in a good place. And hey, you can come back. Like, just take a break, go away for a couple of years and do something different, because you never know when that seed of a new idea is going to come along. And that could be the one. That could be the one that gets you that one yes, that then, turns into more yeses and everything that you've dreamed of. I went on submission. I queried so many books, and I went on submission several times to editors, with books that I thought were the one. This is it. This is it. And got so close, and then it wasn't going to happen. And while all of that was happening, I, decided to sit down and write Pause, which was the book which I probably had been thinking about for a long, long time, because it was part of my life. It was experiences that I'd gathered over the years for me and my son. And I just sort of sat down and thought, oh, well, while all that's happening in the background, I'm just going to write a story that I'm passionate about. And that was a whirlwind. That clearly, it was, again, universe responding and saying, yep, this is the one. I left the agent I was with. I queried Pause. Within, I think, maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I got an agent. And within about 2 weeks, I went on submission. And about 5 weeks later, I had a book deal. So, that to me is a whirlwind. That was fast. That was furious. So yeah, just, you never know when the book is going to come along.
Yes, that's great advice. And I think also importantly, not putting everything in one basket or everything on this one manuscript. Like, sure, finish it off. And even if you think it's the one and you're sending it out and querying it, and agents and publishers, move on to something else. Almost put it to the side and move on, because I guess for a few reasons, and one of them being just there's going to be ups and downs with it. And if it just doesn't get through, number one, you've already been started to work on something else. So you've got something else sitting there kind of ready to go and to keep you busy. And it's maybe going to hurt a little bit less if you're not just looking, what it's like. You send it off, you send the email off, and then you just keep clicking refresh, hoping that that email's coming back like straight away. But yes, it kind of takes your mind off that, because the time is going to pass anyway. You might as well be putting that time to good use.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And like a lot of people will then counter that with, well, I spent so much energy and time on this manuscript, like I've got nothing left to give.
Mm.
But I think that maybe is a lesson in itself. In very few authors are one-hit wonders. That enormous book deal, and that major success, to, for one book is rare.
Mhm.
And so if you do want publication, I guess you've got to look at it as a career. And so you're going to need more projects. You're going to need more stuff to put out there on submission. A lot of editors, yeah, may sign one book from you, but they're potentially going to come and say, what else have you got?
Mhm.
So I think treating it as a business in some small capacity as early as possible is a very good idea. Putting that creative brain into multiple ideas, projects is not ever going to be a waste of time. I've had people say to me, "Oh, you seem to write everything, and you're getting book deal after book deal." I'm like, "Well, actually, do you know what? Pause was being written when I was on submission with something else. The Bravest Word and Harriet Hound were written while Pause was on submission. And so no, I wasn't like I didn't get the Pause book deal and then write all of the other books.
Mm.
They were all being written way before I signed any contracts.
Mhm.
And you know what? There's still some manuscripts maybe in dusty old folders in cupboards that I wrote years ago that I might think, maybe it's time for you.
And
Um,
plenty more in your mind, I'm sure, that are ready to come
oh,
out.
too many
Mhm.
actually. People talk a lot about like not having enough ideas, but I'm that one of like I've just got too many,
Yeah.
and not all of them are going to go anywhere.
It's just not enough time in the day to write them all down. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And like, oh God, writing,
Oh,
can't they just be like,
oh,
fully formed?
wouldn't that be amazing if you could just somehow streamline them from your mind into,
Oh, technology. There you go. That's a breakthrough.
yeah.
Oh no, maybe not actually, because now we're maybe
Well,
getting into the topic of AI, which is not
yeah.
great.
Oh God,
Yeah, no,
let's not go
okay.
there. Okay. Oh, so Kate, so that's a lot. I think I need a little lie down after after going through everything that you're doing. It's so much and it's so incredible. And we've had a lot of questions recently from authors that listen to the podcast and just catching up and meeting other authors and illustrators recently, and they seem to just sort of have the same question and query about how does everybody do it all? How do they fit it all in? How do they get it all done? Like, how are they managing it, with deadlines? Some have families, some don't. Some are full-time authors and author illustrators, and some, have other jobs. Most have other jobs. But even full-time writers they're finding it, the struggle,
Mm.
difficult. And yeah, what advice do you have? How do you do it? Do you have any time management tips for us, or just staying motivated?
Oh, oh my gosh, probably not going to help anyone by what I have to say about that. Um, Look, at the beginning of every year, I'm tremendously motivated and driven, and I am like, right, here we go, watch this space, and the words pour out, and I'm filling in that form and applying for this, and I'm like, amazing. And then I reach probably about September, and it's all gone. And I'm just exhausted, and I don't have much left in the tank. But that's how I work best. It's like these people that are better off working 3, 4 days a week. And they will get like probably 6, 7 days worth of work done in those 3 or 4 days. So I'm like that with months.
Mm.
So I don't even know if what I've said just made sense, or if it's at all helpful in answering the question. But I don't really have any advice. There we go. I just roll with it, and um, I love what I do, and
Mm.
I think maybe that's a big part of the motivation. Deadlines are tough, and you know what? If you're not going to make your deadline, tell your editor in advance. Really let them know as soon as possible, and be like, yeah, this is not coming your way in 3 weeks' time.
Mm.
I'm going to need longer. Don't try and, if you're not in a good headspace and those words are not coming, don't just presume they're gonna. Speak to your editor. Because maybe you could have a meeting with them and they will fix a problem for you. This industry, it needs to be more collaborative. But that also relies on the author reaching out for help, instead of thinking, right, well, if I don't meet this deadline, there's going to be another author that comes along and fills my spot. You know, talk to your editor. They took your book for a reason. They want to work with you for a reason. So, be confident in who you are and what you're doing. Ask for help, reach out to people. But in terms of time management, can't help. SARS. I'm terrible with none.
It sounds like your method is go hard and embrace it and go hard and get out as much as you can as soon as you can, and then but you're aware, you're like, come September I'm kind of done, so that's good. Like I'm just going to front load this.
Well, that's right. Yeah, and then spend September crying a bit because I've got more edits to get done.
And you've just had book week.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
not really crying all the time, maybe just every now and again. But yes, that's it. I just use when I'm pumped and I'm ready and I'm motivated and creative. Yeah, that's when I'll just get it done.
No, but that's good advice. Know what works for you. Maybe try some different things.
There we go. Absolutely. Maybe don't try and do like a whole year's work in 6 months. I don't know if that's that's the message that's come through from what I've just said. I don't know if that's wise for everyone.
No, but that's incredible. But it does seem to be working for you, Kate. Like 4 books out next year. That's an incredible achievement and very exciting. Huge year for you. So good luck with everything next year, Kate. I hope you manage some rest and relaxation time now as we're heading towards Christmas and a bit of a reset so you can go hard again in the new year.
Most definitely, that is the plan. Christmas for me is going to be on the sofa, pajamas, festering, watching box sets, playing Mario Kart, and eating. Yeah,
festering,
festively
festering, I guess.
Oh yes, I love that. Festival festering.
I love it. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. Just festering away over here. Oh, Kate, it was so great to talk to you. Thanks for coming on the pod.
Oh, thank you. It's always lovely to talk to you. You're just like my little Gold Coast bestie.
Yeah, I know. Oh, okay. Thank you. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
See you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Book Deal podcast. We're able to bring you these weekly writerly chats because of our amazing patrons. Join the TPD family by becoming a member of our Patreon community at patreon.com/the Book Deal podcast. And if you love the pod, please give us a rating or review. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook.